Bearded Biomed.
Welcome back to an all-new episode of the Bearded Biomed. I'm your host, Chase. And today I did have an interview planned, but they just didn't show up, so the show must go on. Part of the world of doing podcasts, I guess. Anywho, what I want to do is kind of reach out to the people that may not know about our field. So, as a biomed myself, the sole reason I even started the podcast was to bring awareness, to educate people what we do. So people don't have misconceptions still today about what actually a biomed technician is. So when you consider yourself as a patient, you walk into a hospital. They have to get your vitals, check your temperature. Maybe they got to do an x-ray scan. Maybe you got to go under the knife and be put on anesthesia. Maybe that knife needs to be, sterilized in order for it to be used safely in your body. The biomed is responsible for calibrating, inspecting, maintaining, and servicing any aspect of medical devices that are used for patient care. And the breadth and scope of any of these medical devices we're talking about out there, we do that. Defibrillators, patient monitors, anesthesia, sterilization, imaging, cautery units, any kind of device. It's surgical tables, hospital beds, stretchers, wheelchairs, scales. The list will go on and on. I could name off probably over 100 modalities and still not hit everything. We have such a huge responsibility within our medical infrastructure that people don't realize. We are essentially the one-stop shop, the jack of all trades, the duct tape that binds together the spine of the hospital system. If any medical device causes harm to a patient, we're the first ones that get fingers pointed at. So we have to ensure that every single device is up to snuff, working according to manufacturer specifications. And some of this stuff can kill somebody so easily. But people don't think about us. They think about the doctor using that equipment. They maybe think about the surgical tech prepping the room, setting everything up. They think about the nurse at the edge of the bed with the patient before and after pre and post-op, taking care of them after they've had, a difficult surgery or a difficult injury. But they don't consider that the biomed played a crucial hand in them getting that care. Why is that? Is it oblivious? Or is it just, we're just not doing a good enough job letting you guys know what we're doing? I think it's probably a combination of both. Across the United States, we're probably 9,000 or 10,000 deep, which isn't a lot. This is one of the issues we have in our field. We need more people wanting to come into the field and join and obviously do the work. And in order to do that, you have to go through some sort of college degree program, U.S. military, even an apprenticeship program. There's multiple opportunities out there to get into our field. And if you have any questions whatsoever on where you should look, feel free to leave a comment or email me directly at beardedbiomed@gmail.com, and I'll be more than happy to point you in the right direction. Our field is so unique because it's always expanding I mean, if you think about it, in 2021, the medical device industry was already over $500 billion in depth, in respect to what the monetary worth of what the field is approximated to be, and that was in 2021. It's growing exponentially, and as technology improves, you know, I remember when I first started, everything was hooked up to the wall. You had some battery powered stuff. You know, things are made a little bit more robustly back then. But nowadays, you can run off battery for hours. You can have a patient monitor connect to the network for Wi-Fi to where you have someone's vitals taken on that monitor and then automatically sent off to the spectrum for the doctor review later on. Everything is moving into an IT network interface situation to where not only does the Biomed have to be able to still service that device, but we also got to troubleshoot network specifications. Why is this device not pinging to the network? Why is, you know, any kind of information package not being transferred between here and the PACS? Like, we have to also jump into the IT world as well, which is, you know, if you have IT experience and you just don't want to be sitting at a computer all day, I would highly encourage you to look into our field, because, I mean, our field's merging with yours to begin with. And plus, we get to do a lot more cool stuff. I love my IT guys out there. Appreciate what y'all do too. But anywho, if you want to get into the medical world while still having an IT background, the biomed field is where you want to be. Because we're going to need you guys more and more heavily, especially as more of these ransomware attacks happen across the United States, which, if you're paying attention, they're becoming more and more frequent, especially from Russia and other countries. It's almost like, you know, we need a little security force to protect our hospital systems, just IT wise. Now, most of the time, if you see a biomed in a hospital, which as a patient, you have no idea that you wouldn't be able to point out a biomed, because most of the time we're either dressed in scrubs or, you know, we're out working on this and that. Like, you're not going to decipher that we're a biomed immediately. And most of the time, it's just easier for us to say, hey, with maintenance, I'll walk into a patient room to inspect their broken bed, or maybe something's wrong with the patient monitor, you know, not talking to the central station so the nurse can monitor your vitals. And it's just easier for us to explain that we're with maintenance, as opposed to saying, oh, on the biomed, because then they look at you crazy. Besides that, our medical facilities don't really do a great job at educating its own staff about the biomed sometimes. I get stories all the time from colleagues in my field that a lot of biomeds are still stationed down in the basement. Our office, shop, workroom, whatever you want to call it, is usually stuck down where nobody will ever know it's there. Sometimes you'll get lucky and it's put up on the second, third floor, but still not like recognizable. I remember it was about a month or so ago, I had to go into a hospital system that is in Dallas Fort Worth, and basically I was going there because I had a part delivered to me from that belonged to the biomeds there, and I wanted to make sure they get it because it was an important part. Anyway, I got to the front desk, asked, hey, where's the biomed department at? Had no clue what I was talking about. I go up to the first floor nurse station. Hey, where's the biomed department at? No clue what I was talking about. I eventually found a facilities management guy that told me it was up on the 3rd floor. I go to the 3rd floor. I asked the nurse station, hey, where's the biomed department at? She had no clue. There was 3 or 4 nurses there. None of them knew where the biomed department was. I walked down the hallway, and it's in a tiny little nook door on their floor that they take care of. These are nurses that manage this floor solely, and they had no clue they had a biomed department on their floor. Now, I would also put this on the biomeds as well, that you got to make yourself known. You have to let them know that, hey, I'm here. I'm doing this for you. I think biomeds in general, as technicians, a lot of us are very introverted. We're very, keep to ourselves. We do the work. Most of the time, we always refer to ourselves in the industry as unsung heroes, because most of the time we're called in on a moment's notice to fix something critically that could be affecting a doctor from being able to perform a case that he has scheduled. Something could possibly have the risk of injuring a patient. Anytime a hospital has to impede patient care or sometimes turn away care entirely, that's a huge problem. And we'll come in, we'll swoop in, we'll save the issue, and nobody's none the wiser. Patients especially. They just assume that stuff just magically, pops up and works. No, not at all, my friends. So many people are solely dedicated, like myself, to this field that put in so many hours of understanding and educating themselves. That's another thing with our field, with everything always having to grow and improve, so must the biomed. There's always a saying that medical equipment usually flips in our industry at least every 5 to 10 years, because systems improve, internal mechanisms, internal structure of what a manufacturer decides to do with these devices improves. Obviously, they want to roll out their latest and greatest model, and we get into issues such as the right to repair movement, where manufacturers are making it so difficult for us to get technical manuals, for us to get any kind of serviceability support the equipment that belongs to the hospital, that they purchase so that they can take care of your needs. And once that equipment breaks, it's sometimes so costly or so time consuming for them to get it serviced by the manufacturer, it hurts the hospital. And then by process of association, it's also going to hurt your care. And that's another thing I want to bring to the forefront. This is a constant issue that we're currently in the midst dealing with Congress, and more than likely that's going to go to the FDA for approval instead of Congress doing something, but neither here nor there. I guess what I want to say is, as someone that's receiving care in a hospital, in an ER, maybe you're getting surgery done, specialized surgery, or a non-life-threatening service, just consider what type of device it is, and imagine somebody coming in and going through making sure that it's safe and that it won't hurt you. Because the biomed has put their hands on any device, hopefully, that is being used to take care of your needs. And I just want people to recognize that we're out there doing this work day in and day out. I mean, there's some really cool stuff that we take care of. I mean, think about delivery. For, a mother has a baby. She's in a bed trying to keep them comfortable, which, we have specialized birthing beds nowadays. We take care of those. a fetal heart monitor that gets hooked up to a newly born infant to ensure that they don't have any kind of issues. That way we can monitor them and make sure everything's okay. Hook it up to mom, make sure everything's okay with mom. Like, we take care of those monitors to make sure that everything is okay for both you and your newborn child or soon to be born child. When baby is born, we want to keep them warm, right? Because they're just now getting used to being out in the new world. So the beds that we lay them in with the heating lamp and the vitals monitors, and maybe if the baby's having issues breathing, little O2 hose, the infant warming system, incubators, all that kind of stuff. We take care of all that equipment that's used for labor and delivery. Physical therapy even. This is another thing. Anybody that's been through a traumatic accident and they're having to rehabilitate and, get up and try to get back into the world as they once were. All those devices used to, even the tables, the exercise equipment, the therapy, like the hydroculators or permabaths, and we take care of all that too. I just want people to realize that there is a space of the medical infrastructure that's not widely recognized. And we're doing so much to try to keep everything afloat. The more recently that might hit home for a lot of people with COVID. When COVID first hit, it was a scary time for everybody. So many of us had family members that we didn't know were going to make it. And the ventilators that had to be pushed out to make sure they were serviced, make sure they were safe, to get everybody a working ventilator in order to keep people alive. We were responsible for that. We made sure that every facility that we could had the ability to take care of these patients. And I by no means want to say that, no thanks are warranted to the nurses and doctors that treated these patients. Absolutely not. I have so many friends that are nurses, and, my heart goes out to them for all the crap that they had to go through during that time and the heat of the pandemic. But, nobody interviewed a biomed, asked them what they thought about the situation or how it could have been helped. How there was huge logistical issues. Here in the state of Texas, there were ventilators being sent to medical facilities which needed them, just to be told a day later that they needed to send them back to the state because they didn't mean to send them to them. Meanwhile, there were COVID patients that did not have ventilators that needed them. But nobody knew about that because nobody cared to ask a biomed about some of the situations we're dealing with the ventilators. I guess to put a hat on anything I've spoken about in this video is just that I just want you to be aware that the Biomed Technician exists, that we're always out there putting patient care, patient safety first and foremost. And while you may not see us, we are there in every single thing that is used to take care of your needs and those of your family members. I would encourage you to, next time you're out, if you look any kind of service you're getting, whether it's a surgery, maybe you're coming in for an injury, even a cold. If you look at a piece of equipment, there is likely a sticker on there that says who serviced it, when it was serviced, when the next service is due. And just have that in the back of your mind, that somebody is putting their time, energy, and effort into making sure that everything is going to work the way it needs to work so that we can get you better. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. So I'm just going to leave that here. I appreciate you listening, watching. Everybody out there in the realm, if you wouldn't mind just liking, subscribing, dropping a comment down at the bottom of the video. For those of you listening, Spotify, Apple, Google, iHeart, wherever, if you wouldn't mind just leaving a rating or review, really does help the show with algorithms and everything, and also helping me improve on what you'd like to hear about or your thoughts. And I'm curious to hear, what are your personal experiences, or if you've had any, with a particular piece of equipment that maybe went down, or, maybe a recent procedure you had done that really changed your life. And I could probably tell you what equipment was used to do it. And maybe it'll just give you a different perspective on some of the different professions out there that are doing amazing work that just might not be recognized. So I am the Bearded Biomed. I appreciate you. May the beard be with you.